any way to just spare an extra few moments of their time. Step out of the car in the dark, search down the aisle, scoop them up, take them home, find the box, put them in it, look up a phone number, make the call, load them back in the car, haul them to us, doing everything they possibly could to make sure that Mojo survived, and they pulled it off. Had they not stopped that night, surely Mojo would have died by the side of the road over a year and a half ago. He was in shock. An animal that falls into shock loses the ability to maintain their own body temperature, which is why you're always supposed to throw a blanket over a shock victim. Plus, he's tiny. Tiny animals lose heat much, much faster than larger animals do. He would have rapidly fallen into hypothermia and then frozen that evening. So maybe some of those extreme acts of kindness and compassion towards wildlife will balance out a lot of the nuttier human stuff that we're forced to deal with pretty regularly. He was just making a couple of new sounds that he's never made before. That's why I was kind of listening to him. He's very vocal. I've never had a vocal saw-whet owl before, but he is. Oh yeah, everybody wants to take him home. I'm going to raffle off Mojo in a few minutes. He eats mice. He prefers the top half. So I give him two. They're already dead, okay? Let's be humane. So I'll put 2 mice in his flight aviary at night, and I will retrieve the bottom half of both of those mice the next day. Then I'll go outside and throw it up on a board, and the vultures and the red tails will come in and eat the rest. So nothing goes to waste at the Delaware Valley Raptor Zoo. Biggest bird you saw so far was the red tail and the horned owl. Both weighed about the same. They both weighed 3 1/4 pounds. They both had about a 4-foot wingspan. You wouldn't think that they had 4-foot wingspans because birds of prey on the fist seldom do more than this. And the difference between this and that and the red tail is a good foot or so, and a golden eagle's a good couple of extra feet. You won't be disappointed with her. Next bird weighs 14 pounds. My reach from my feet to my fingertips is 7 feet 3 inches tall. Bird's wingspan is very close to 7 feet. Just to prepare you for her, she is fully flighted. She will not get away. Occasionally she gets excited enough that she might try to fly. If she does, she's off my fist in an instant. She can't go very far because I have total control of her. Still, it can be very startling, especially if you're sitting there. So prepare yourself for that. She's out. She is extremely well behaved. She is a very, very sweet-natured bird. You can take as many pictures as you like. Hold that for me. There you go. Okay, I just need a little bit more space here. Oh, you turned the wrong way. That's not good. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Almost better. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. That's one. Okay, that's 2.
Oh my God!
This is Julia. Julia is called a golden eagle. She is called a golden eagle because of the feathers on top of and behind her head, which are called hackles. And they do indeed glow gold and copper color in the sun. Thank you. It is this very beautiful shimmer. She's going to rouse. This very beautiful shimmer starts there, ends there. Julie gets upset. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay. This very beautiful shimmer starts there, ends there, and if Julie gets really upset, she'll take her hackles and she'll stick them straight up in the air just like that. If you've ever heard the very old expression, don't get your hackles up, it started 400 years ago in England during Shakespeare's time. What did people do in Shakespeare in England? They flew hawks and they flew falcons. And if you read Shakespeare's plays, he mentions expressions from falconry in almost every single one, simply because it just happened to be the language of the day. So don't get your hackles up means don't get angry. Don't show your anger the way your hawk or your falcon would. Notice how very close I can get to her. Don't worry about Julia biting at my nose or pecking at my eyes. She has bonded to me over the past 12 years that I've been working with her. And when I say bond, I use that word very, very loosely because birds of prey are not your pets. They're not affectionate by nature. They don't love you. They become used to, comfortable with, and quite secure in the presence of their handlers. They are very wary of people that they're not used to seeing on a regular basis. I call this a bond, and I keep it going for a number of reasons, not the least of which Julia might live to be 40 years old. She's 22. She can outlive me. The time that we have together, I don't want her to be fearful of me, because in fear she could strike out with those feet. And I told you earlier, a 3-pound red tail puts your foot in your arm, you can't get it out. 14-pound golden eagle puts her foot right through your arm, no problem whatsoever. Her back talons can reach 3 inches. That's twice the length of a bald eagle's back talon. She can grip at 1,000 pounds per square inch. So collectively, what does all this stuff mean? Well, it means right now Julie could reach out, grab your hand, squeeze, put 4 holes right through your hand, keep squeezing, and break some bones inside. Off a 14-pound bird. So picture this. When Julia was flying free in the wild, she could dive through the air at 185 miles an hour. Have you ever stood near an interstate highway and watched a car go zooming by 20 feet away? Triple it. Picture a golden eagle with a 7-foot wingspan zooming past you 3 times faster than that car is passing on the highway. She's after a rabbit in the desert. She slows down and brakes a bit to hit the rabbit, so maybe she's only coming in at 90 miles an hour. So let's get slammed with this 14-pound feathered brick with 8 sharp knives attached at 90, and at the moment she makes impact, she squeezes it 1,000 pounds per square inch, and now you have some idea of the complete destructive power of this particular bird, because this afternoon you're very fortunate to be looking at the most powerful bird in the United States, and one of the most powerful eagles in the entire world. Laplanders years ago used to carry trained golden eagles with them when they were herding their reindeer, because if wolves came to attack the reindeer, they'd set the goldens free. The goldens were trained. Fly the wolves, grab the wolves by the head, pin the wolves to the ground, secure them down until the Laplander could combine and dispatch the wolf, assuming that the eagle hasn't dealt with a fatal wound already. And that tells you 2 things about golden eagles. 1, they can put a wolf on the ground. 2, they have the attitude to believe they're going to pull it off. They've learned to fear no animal except for us. We are and have been their only true natural enemy, because nothing is going to try to prey upon a healthy adult golden eagle. Julie came to us from Cody, Wyoming. She was hit by a car. She broke her left leg, which healed perfectly, but a massive head injury blinded her in her right eye, so notice the difference. Her left eye, facing this way, is this beautiful amber color. That's her sighted eye. Her right eye looks darker and more almond-shaped, so as I rotate her around, you should be able to notice the difference between the 2 eyes. Also notice that Julia happens to be feathered all the way down to the tops of her toes. Most birds are feathered to the ankle, which is where? It's up there. What looks like the backwards knee of a walking bird is anatomically part of the bird's foot. This joint corresponds to our ankle. She's feathered all the way down. She's called a booted eagle for that reason. She shares that characteristic with 30 of the 59 different species of eagles that exist in the world today. About half of them are booted. Goldens live worldwide in the northern hemisphere. They live in Asia, Europe, North Africa, and North America. In North America, they do not nest and breed in the eastern half of the United States. They nest and breed out west. They nest and breed north of us in the east of Canada. So although the goldens aren't often in New Jersey, or New York or Pennsylvania, they're here seasonally, because every fall some of the Canada goldens fly south. They pass over our flyways, usually starting in October. But if you really want to see golden eagles in the wild, hit the migration flyways during the month of November. That's when they come through in their greatest numbers. Then they might stop and overwinter for a while, but by mid-April they've all gone north again. So we have this tiny window to see them locally. For that reason, we don't get them at our center often, but over the years we've gotten some. A number of years back, we got a golden eagle found starving to death in a baseball field in Bayonne, New Jersey. First-year bird, first migration flight, first week of November, right on schedule. Came in totally emaciated at 6 pounds. Was eventually released at over 12 pounds. Shortly after that, we got a golden eagle dying of lead poisoning in the southern Adirondacks, north of Albany. We had to chemically chelate the lead out of that eagle's bloodstream. Once we flushed the lead from her blood and tissues, that eagle started to recover. Once she started to recover, I had to free fly her to rebuild up all of her flight muscles so she was strong and fit enough for release. What She Was, together with the New York Department of Environmental Conservation. We attached a transmitter to the Eagle. It beamed to a satellite, back to a website, threw up a map, plotted a point online where she was. We watched that point go over 900 miles up into Labrador, Canada. You seldom ever get that kind of feedback. That was almost too cool for us. I did a movie shoot with Julia 3 years ago. The movie's out on DVD, or you can also maybe still watch it through Netflix. It is called Days and Nights. It's kind of a strange independent film, which is a remake of an old Anton Chekhov play, originally called The Seagull, for all of you super literary types out there. It has a very good cast. It stars William Hurt, Allison Janney, Katie Holmes, Russell Means, Cherry Jones, John Reno, Mark and Juliette Rylance. If any of those names ring a bell to you, if you decide that you would like to watch that movie, I seriously suggest that you zip through the first 3/4 of it and then watch her come in and steal the last 2 scenes where she was absolutely magnificent. This will give you a little bit of an indication. Size, power, beauty, length of wings, width of wings, broadness of the musculature across their chest, huge feet and talons, beautiful amber eyes, subtle colors of gold and copper in their hackles, really cool pattern on the adult tail. First and second year golden eagles have a two-tone tail. The base is white, the tip is dark brown. If this feather looks familiar to you, check out Native American headdresses from the plains. They are white at the base, they are dark at the tip. Those headdresses are comprised of tail feathers from 1- and 2-year-old golden eagles. If you have more than a passing interest in birds of prey, we are the Delaware Valley Raptor Center. We're located in Milford, Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half from here. We're not open to the general public. We are open to our membership, and they in turn can bring family, friends, and guests to visit with them without any extra charge or anything like that. There's no federal or state money for what we do. We have to raise it all privately, so I would like to thank all the sponsors of this program today. I've been coming here for about 5 years now, I guess, so that helps us out a lot. But if you're interested in helping out, membership forms are up front. If you're not a joiner but want to help out one time, we have an adoption program. You can sponsor the care of a bird at our center. You won't get the bird, but you get this really cool adoption package in the mail, and then best for you. You'll never hear from us again unless you want to, so we don't keep bugging people. Finally, if you're a teacher, educator, a scout person, whatever, and if you think this program is suitable for a different venue, talk to me afterwards and I will give you a program brochure. I couldn't bring her up and down the aisle. It's actually way too tight and she's too big I wouldn't want to whack anybody in the face with her wings and stuff like that. But I'm going to keep her out for a little while if anybody in the back wants to come up front. Rather than open up for questions, just come up and talk to me while I'm packing up. Thank you all for coming out. Your children were all extremely welcome.